Kit Gurus with Seasonic at Computex 2025. I stand in front of the future. The future is Seasonic discovering that there are colors in this world. These are just samples. They're just considering making power supplies in Larry colors and limited editions. Gloss black, gloss red, gloss white, and some form of gloss blue that's meant to be a royal blue. I like these, in particular the red. It has taken them an age to decide that this might be a thing. Comment below this video to demand a shiny color from Seasonic, and now. This is the first 80 plus gold certified power supply, made obviously by Seasonic. We're on the Seasonic booth after all. I ask you, what year do you think this power supply dates from? It's the first 80 plus gold rated. And the answer? 2005, 20 years ago. It feels like a lifetime. The world has moved a long way in 20 years. We're taking a quick run along a line of existing products, going past fans to core, focus, and then prime. These are all ATX 3.1 power supplies now. ATX 3 and ATX 2 point anything is a thing of the past. And on the corner, we have the Prime 2200, a power supply that we know and love and has done very well. I'm going to put my hand up for scale. It is huge. The primes have always been big. This is a large prime. Try and remember that, would you? It'll come in handy, as it were, later. We have the Prime 1600, again, hand for scale. A hefty, great big power supply. And then next to that, we have a smaller power supply from the core range, rated at 1000 watts, approximately half the size of the Prime. The significant thing here is this piece of plastic. Seasonic is not going with an edge type power supply design, so we have the main power goes in there, connection points there, they're conventional connections, not microfit, and it's just a single 12-volt high power. However, if you put that shroud on the back, ducts there, shove the cable in there obviously and connect it, then you can rotate the power supply by 90 degrees to kind of make it edge-esque. And you'll note, with the shroud in place, it's square. Therefore, you can rotate it without mucking things up. It looks like a cheap way of developing an edge-esque power supply. Interesting to see how that works in practice, but it's not going to add anything to the cost whatsoever. We move along to something that I consider to be much more interesting. The Prime ATX 3.1 1200 watt HPD, high power density. Going to put my hand on for scale. Look at that. Relatively speaking, tiny. And yet it's a full fat Prime, platinum certified. I rotate it and we have full size power connectors. Supports two 5090s should you wish. I mean, good luck with that, but theoretically, two 5080s would be wiser. What the heck, you might wonder, is HPD? That's a good question, and we'll come to that shortly. But first, I'm going to show you more HPD, including this Noctua Prime HPD 1200 watt. Clearly, it's the same power supply. However, clearly, it's got a Noctua fan. Development time in Noctua takes a while. That power supply might take a full year to come to market. I'm liking the look of it. And when we look at the build in the Antec case, using loads of brown-themed parts, obviously Noctua, we have the existing Noctua power supply, brown throughout the case, the Asus Noctua graphics card, obviously a Noctua cooler and Noctua fans, and it looks absolutely spiffy. I still want to see everything in red, mind you, but this brown and black build I like. But what, you are wondering, is HPD? And that's a good question. Optisink, we showed you this technology last year. This is the original way of mounting components. Lots of solder, big bits of aluminium, quite crude. And this is what we showed you last year, Optisink. Surface-mounted components, much like the VRMs on a motherboard. Much smaller, much more sophisticated. Takes a certain amount of cost to get the setup right. This is how the power supply industry is currently rolling. We go to the screen there, and you can see Optisink 2. which is Optisink with the addition of aluminium heat sinks. It's pretty blooming obvious, and you can see there the injection of thermal compound. If you look to the right, you'll see some very excited people looking at Optisink too, but it is Optisink with the addition of a heatsink. And looking at this prime HPD build and the power supply that's buried in among all the hardware, that is the explanation of how HPD functions. It's the clever Optisink 2 technology that allows them to make the power supplies incredibly small and dense. This build is by King of Wing, who runs Wing Studio in China. Hadn't heard of this guy before. This is his device. We've seen something similar from Thermal Grizzly, but half the size and much more sophisticated, also more German. But the idea of power monitoring for your 5090 graphics card, it seems like an essential tool. So that is the Wing Studio, I'm going to read it out, 12V 2x6 Ti smart power cable, UGG. And it powers that, which does this. We've seen the prime 2200 watt power supply, a power supply that Seasonic thought might have a market measured in the handful. Turns out it sells by the truckload. So they're coming up with this prime PX-1200. I'm going to rotate it for the camera, and we're going to count the 12 volt high power connections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the things. Now, I'm not suggesting you could power 6 5090s with this, but you could power 6 somethings with it. Also, if you're an American and you have domestic power, those 110 volt outlets, this is no good for you. It won't work. And this server here behind us, if we come around and go up high, I believe this is powered by 2 prime power supplies, just to show what kind of systems are out there. 4 graphics cards, loads of cooling, a boatload of memory, and it's running on what I consider to be domestic power supplies. Yes, there are indeed 2 PX-3200s hidden within. And there we see the chunky great cables feeding to the 2 PX-3200s, which are powering this enormous Threadripper system. Optiguard is a technology that Seasonic is working on. They say there it's coming soon. I'm not sure how soon. I think the original first version will be soon, and a more sophisticated version coming after. It's all about the power supply. The cables on show are conventional cables. They're doing nothing special. It's all about the power supply itself. The logic is this. We have 2 12 volt high power connection points marked with the Optiguard logo, and a third above which is not. So it's the 2 we're interested in. We have 6 neutral wires, 6 12 volts, and the 4 sense pins. And on the 12 volts, pins 1 and 6 on each of the connections is monitoring temperature, and pins 1 through 6 are monitoring current. And we go up to the screen where we can see something, because the power supply isn't really very active, and we can see what's going on. As your graphics card is running, it's sensing what's going on inside the power supply. If it doesn't like it, it'll sound an alarm. In the first instance, that means it can flash a light or it can sound an alarm, but the only thing the power supply can do if it doesn't like what's going on is shut down, i.e. shut down your entire system. Optiguard version, I guess, 2 or 1.0, if the original is going to be a bit of a beta, will have a connection to your motherboard. If it doesn't like what's going on, it can more elegantly shut your PC down. So the very first version won't be connected to your motherboard, it's either on or off. The second version will be more sophisticated. We saw similar thinking at Thermal Grizzly, but they used a completely different approach. And we're signing off with Seasonic at Computex 2025 in front of the wonderful coloured power supply housings. Remember, red is the best, but I leave it to you to vote for your favourite colour. Do please check us out on TikTok, and we're at kitguru.net.